Well, how y'all doing today? Question is, what the heck we going to talk about today? Ugh. You know what I was thinking? We probably should be talking about how people are not really going into their own selves. My name is Phoenix Rising, and we are living in a time where people really don't know what the hell they're doing because there's so much going on, they don't know how to deal with it. We get overwhelmed. And that's kind of a sad thing when you think about it. Because we've been under the influence of a massive propaganda. Now, see, I'm writing a story, an audio book, about a man named Arvin who comes back from the future, from the year 2087. Now, these things here come to me because, well, I'm what you call one of them there new age people who believe in a new earth, time of change. This is the age of Aquarius. And I've been doing it, involved in this kind of energy. I'm too young to be a hippie. As a child, that was my life's ambition, was to become a hippie. But I'm too young, so I'm a granola. On the beginning of Gen X, we were left to our own devices to figure out things in this world. We had rejected the old system or the establishment left over from the hippie generation. The granolas tended to be people that had tried to figure out ways of going back to the earth, going to find a harmony. A lot of these new age people use different terminologies. I personally like to quote Shakespeare. It said, "Arose by any other name." It don't matter whether you call them angels or spirits or your higher self or anything that's going to make you feel like you belong, that you have an understanding, that you're not alone. I got involved in this heavily back in the early 80s as a reaction to Mr. Reagan being elected president and deregularizing everything. Said, "Don't worry, corporate will take care of us." Yeah, they'll take care of us for their own damn interest. If you look at it long enough, all the studies that were being done and whatnot, if corporate mentality was a human being and it was analyzed by a proper psychological system of analysis, say Jung, I was never that fond of Freud, but Jung I liked because he talked about our inner shadows. Or reminds me of, well, see, like I said, I grew up in front of a TV watching cartoons, especially the old Bugs Bunny and the old Warner stuff, where a lot of these characters, they had an angel on one shoulder and a devil on the other. Now that's important because that's pretty much the truth. We all have our higher selves, which is that angel, and we have our egos, which is that devil. Now, the word ego itself literally stands for edging God out. When we think we know better than God or the universe or the creator or whatever you want to call it, well, that tends to lead us into a lot of trouble. And then we got to go back and do our own shadow work and deal with our own damages. And a lot of us have a lot of damages to deal with. Yeah, this old guitar helps me think. Well, we've reached a time now where society, this propaganda, this North American culture that has been propagandized all over the world, uncontrollable capitalism to the point of national greed, propagating that if there's a winner, there must be a loser. Well, every time there's a loser, we all lose because we are one. Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, you are. And the more I think about it, the more I remember my own life. Traveling the world, doing volunteer work in Africa, Central America, training volunteers. We are one. Come on, children, make it grow. See the glory, or see the pain. Won't you tell me it's back again? Yeah, anyway, this younger generation has been taken to the limit where they don't believe in anything anymore. When the bullshit gets so heavy that you can't believe the people you're supposed to trust, you can't believe the system because the system has lost faith in itself. The entities that are to protect children abuse them. The entities that are supposed to be protecting the people, like governments, sell out to corporate interest due to greed because of this propaganda. We forgot the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Well, that's karma. Whether it's the Bible or the Quran or Buddha or Tao. The way simply means universal law. For every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction plus interest. Well, think about that for a moment. Think of a comet traveling around the universe. Something happened, like a game of pocket billiards, where something hit something else and a little piece flew off into space and created an orbit. Well, it's going to come back its own way in some kind of long elliptical movement. If you take a look at some of the meteors that have been coming close to Earth these last few years, why does a comet have a tail? See, the ancients, especially the Taoists and some of the Eastern philosophies, talk about the nature. They learn from nature. Kung Fu, martial arts, from studying the animals and how they move and how things work. Right? The effects of things. Even medicine all comes from nature back in its origins. Right? The different foods that we eat have chemical reactions in our body that cause reactions in our system. Western medicine, though, tried to skip a few. Try to concentrate everything. Well, when you concentrate things and make them stronger, you tend to have stronger reactions. If you take them in their more natural forms, your body has time to absorb them and deal with it. Life is like that. People are like that. And those natural reactions, whether they happen on any scale, think of fractals. That's one of the big things people talk about these days. How everything's the same. It's just a matter of scale. Whether you take it all the way down into atomic and subatomic and quarkian and subquarkian, or expand to a large scale of the universe. It's all the same. Because there's no other option. Everything in the universe is the same. We're all made of the same elemental things. Everything reacts by the weak power of the universe. Gravitational attraction, or attraction of the sames. Birds of a feather. Misery loves company. That's the same thing. That's why people who don't feel good want to make everybody else feel bad, so that they don't feel alone. Well, who's got the power? What is the power of change? Because change is the only constant in the universe. So we better figure out what has the power behind that change. You do. The only thing you can change in this world is your own damn self. But that takes a lot of inner work. You gotta figure out who the hell you are first. And most people are afraid to take that deep dive and figure out who they are. Because it's painful. Because you're not gonna like everything you see. The proof of that is, talk to people. Hear what they say they believe, and then see if they act in accordance to those beliefs, because they don't. When you reach the point that you act, all of your actions follow what you say you believe, then you're honest. To thine own self be true. When you reach that point, you get power. Excuse me. See, we got the power anyway. It's called self-will or free will. We have the right and the power to make decisions for our own damn selves. Free will. But everything that we choose from that free will has price. Because our actions bring reactions. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, plus interest. So if you don't like how you're living, you got to change how you want to live. And the last thing I want to say in this particular video right now is this one. How am I going to put this? Well, I guess it's to the point of responsibility. We are responsible. You have to accept responsibility for yourself. Based on knowledge, life is a learning curve. It's your job to take your head out of the sand or out of your own butt and pay attention to what's going on. There is no good and bad, but it's only perspective. Double slit experiment proves that. Observation. Your perspective Your ability to be open-minded as to what things are tell you how you feel about them. So it's a combination of your head and your heart working together. And that's all based on your experiences. So your data recovery, your data perception, your data input. Will you let the biases of your past, the traumas of your past, affect your perception? Will you believe what other people tell you they want you to believe? And usually it's for their own damn agenda. Or will you take control of yourself and responsibility for yourself to be open-minded, to learn, to fact-check, to figure things out? Because we live in a world of smoke and mirrors. 98% of what people or the media and everyone's trying to tell us is based on their agenda, their perspective, their trauma. Rise above. Peace and love. Rise above. Find out who you are and what you believe and be true to yourself. Love your neighbor as yourself. Love your enemies while walking a mile in another man's shoes. It's time for a change. The world's changing, whether we want it to or not. It's going to heal itself because that's what the universe does. And like everything's the same, the universe is basically a body. If it has an illness, the body produces immune system to try to heal those. Bless you. Heal yourself. Be honest. And see all the fun that happens after that. Love y'all.